What's up, millennials? Today I'm going to give you my first thoughts about the company RCAT Holdings, and this is a holdings company that is currently holding 4 drone companies and is very likely going to add another one. This company, RCAT Holdings, has currently uplisted to the Nasdaq, so right now it is available for purchase by many more people. Today we're just going to take a look at an introduction of this company, the introductions of all of the 4 companies within RCAT Holdings, and then I'm also going to provide my own opinion about the company and some technical analysis too. So let's do it! RCAT Holdings is a company founded in 2018 by the current CEO Jeff Thompson, and it is a little bit like ALPP, if you know that company, Alpine Holdings. It's also a holding company, but this one is solely focused on drones, whereas Alpine Technologies, of course, has multiple companies, not just drone companies. And as we can see, these drones of RCAT Holdings can be used in multiple drone applications, as we can see on the screen right now, for example in construction work, also in the oil and gas industry, and also for first responders. With regards to construction, you can, for example, imagine yourself that people can use drones to survey buildings, for example. Oil and gas, you can check out oil and gas installations with drones a little bit quicker than if you would have to do that in person. And with regards to first responders, you can get medical supplies very fast from one location to another location, and also provide some mapping of the emergency situation around. So that is definitely important. And with regards to that medical supply thing, I definitely think that is an interesting use case for sure, because personally I'm a little bit more inclined to invest in drone companies that are focused on package delivery, for example. And I listened to an interview with Michael Drost, who is the CEO of Ag Eagle, recently, and in that interview he said that this drone company, or all the drone companies around the world, are probably first going to focus a little bit more on the products with a high ticket, if you will. So the more expensive products, instead of just a cheap pizza, for example. The drone companies are likely going to focus a little bit more on things like medical supplies, because the ticket of these medical supplies is a little bit higher, of course, and it is also more important that the drone can deliver a certain package from point A to point B, so companies are willing to pay a little bit more for that too. The first company that is included in RCAT Holdings is the company FatShark, and this is a company that provides these headsets, as you can see on the screen, for a first-person view of the situation in a drone. So the drone has a certain camera in it, and with the help of this headset, you can actually see what the drone, or what the camera on top of the drone, is actually seeing. So right now, FatShark is actually the market share leader in this space, in the headset space of first-person view headsets, and this is something that people like you and me use. So yeah, it is for just a regular use. I'm just wondering if there also could be some commercial use cases too, if these headsets, if these first-person view headsets could also be used for inspection, for example, or for the first responders, as we've just talked about a minute ago. Then if we take a look at the revenue of this company FatShark within RCAT Holdings, we can see that it has a pretty solid amount of revenue. It had $7.3 million in revenue in 2020, and I definitely think that this company is the most important company within RCAT Holdings, because they provide the majority of the revenue. If we go to the 10Q, for example, the last quarterly earnings, we can see that 72% of last quarter's revenue was provided by FatShark, and the rest, so 28%, was actually added by Rotor Riot, which is a company that I'm going to talk a little bit more about later on. So what they also say in the quarterly results is that this company FatShark is probably going to provide the majority of the revenue for the next 12 months. The second company that is within RCAT Holdings is the company Skypersonic, and this one was acquired in February 2021, so it's not yet in the last quarterly results, but this is more focused on the commercial drones, and what it provides is a remote piloting system. The drones itself of Skycopter are quite interesting as well. They're like a sphere almost, it's like a circle, and these can be used in GPS denied places. So what that means is that with regular systems, you can't really have access to certain places in, like, for example, a well, as we can see in the picture over here. So sometimes you can't use a drone because of that, because the GPS just doesn't reach to those places. But Skypersonic actually provides a remote piloting system where you actually can use that drone in those GPS denied places. Now, I think that these drones can actually be very well used with the FatShark headset, for example. So the pilots can actually put on the headset of FatShark, and then they can ride these drones or simply fly around with these drones, of course. Company number 3 within RCAT Holdings is RCAT's own Dronebox, and this is like a data storage system because, as you can imagine, all planes have this black box, but all drones kind of need a black box too. So Dronebox can actually deliver a so-called black box for drones. What they simply acquire is they gather all the data that the drone is actually gathering at the moment while it's in flight, and that data can actually be reviewed later on by, for example, regulators or insurance companies or pilots or fleet managers. And the cool thing is that this data storage system, so this Dronebox, is actually drone agnostic. So this system can be used for all types of drones, not just one specific drone. One additional interesting thing is that they also have a patent pending blockchain-based cloud system. So that's interesting to see that they are working on a blockchain system. Now, I haven't really been able to find a lot of information about this blockchain system just yet, so I'm kind of wondering what the usefulness of the blockchain is going to be. I'm thinking that it has to do with a trustless system, so that you don't really need to trust a certain organization, but because of using blockchain data, you can actually make it a trustless system. And then the last company of the 4 companies that are within RCAT Holdings is the company called Rotor Riot. And they have the mission to make the rapidly growing drone enthusiast market accessible to anyone by providing the most fulfilling products, services, and solutions to overcome the barriers to entry. So what they do is they have basically a few things. First of all, they have a store where you can buy drones, where you can buy drone parts, for example. But they also have a very interesting YouTube channel with 225,000 subscribers. So if you're a little bit into drones and if you are into people doing tricks with drones, for example, you can definitely check out this YouTube channel and definitely get some interesting videos. And apart from the 4 companies that I've just mentioned, RCAT Holdings currently also has signed another letter of intent to acquire another company, which is Lugus Studios. And this Lugus Studios is the developer of Liftoff, which apparently is also a game you can play on your PS4 or on your Xbox, for example. And Liftoff is a flight simulation platform for drone pilot training. So what they say is that Liftoff enables student pilots to test and learn how to fly drones in a simulated environment without the cost and also the risk of flying a real drone. Now, as you might know, personally, I'm trying to invest in drone companies that are focusing a little bit more on the package delivery space, because I think that is going to have a very big total addressable market. And so far, I haven't really seen anything that is directly related to package delivery. I can imagine that some things can be used for package delivery indirectly, but yeah, so far, I haven't really found a direct link. So I'm not entirely sure if I would like to invest in this company just yet. In the investor presentation of RCAT Holdings, we can also see a peer valuation. So we can see that RCAT Holdings currently has a relatively low price to sales ratio. According to the investor presentation, they are going to have about $9 million in revenue in 2020, or they had that kind of revenue in 2020. And right now they have a market cap of about 125 million. So the price to sales ratio is more or less 13-14x. So if you compare that to the other companies out there like AgEagle, Alpine 4, Dragonfly, and Fuse, then that definitely is on the low side. But later on, we're also going to see that according to the 10Q, there are some concerns with this company, especially with regards to the amount of net loss they are operating at right now. So again, if you take a look at AgEagle, for example, yes, the revenue of 2020 was very low. I do think that 2021 is going to be a pretty good year with regards to the revenue of AgEagle because they acquired multiple companies. Alpine 4 does pretty well, actually. They have a pretty solid revenue or a pretty solid price to sales ratio. Dragonfly, I don't really know this company, so I can't really talk about that. And Fusix definitely has a very high price to sales ratio. I do know that ARK Invest is investing in that, and I recently actually watched a video, an interview with the CEO of Fusix and someone from ARK Invest. So maybe if you're interested in augmented reality and smart glasses, then that is definitely something you could watch. Now, as I've mentioned, there is a going concern with RCAT Holdings because according to the 10Q, the latest quarterly earnings, we can see that RCAT Holdings does have a negative working capital of almost $9 million. And they have also accumulated losses of approximately $12.7 million. And according to the 10Q filing, management recognizes that these operating results and our financial position raises substantial doubt about our ability to continue as a going concern. Now, they are now trying to come up with solutions to this problem, and they basically have 3 possible ways. First of all, raise capital. Secondly, release additional commercial products. And third, acquisitions. So they are already already doing acquisitions, of course. I personally think that this year we are going to see Red Cat Holdings offering more shares to raise more capital. So be aware that there might be some share dilution coming this year. So yeah, and definitely keep that in mind. So in general, in my opinion, this is definitely a cool drone company, but there is not a direct link to package delivery, and that is definitely the use case that I personally am most bullish about. Apart from that, we have seen that Red Cat Holdings does have a pretty solid price to sales ratio compared to the competitors out there in the drone sector, but do keep in mind that they are operating at a pretty significant loss, and do keep in mind we are very likely going to see some share dilution because I think that Red Cat Holdings will need to raise more capital in the next coming years. Now, personally, I'm not going to invest in this company just yet. I'm not very convinced just yet, but I am going to keep my eye on it because I do think it is a very interesting company. So I'm very much looking forward to hearing your opinion too. What is your opinion about Red Cat Holdings? Let me know in the comments. And with that being said, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye!